Hi, my name is Jessie Chen. I'm the holder of this diary. Call it When Traveling. Because of the late sleep yesterday, I woke up late. After freshening up, I went to the convenience store to buy some bread for breakfast. Argentine girl woke up at 12. She told me she was gonna retrieve her passport at a nearby hotel. But before that, she wanted to fill her stomach first. We then went to Burger King. January 11th, 2022, in Madrid, Spain. While she was eating, we started to talk about relationships. She mentioned a guy who was obviously chasing her recently. He's so annoying. I don't like him, Argentine girl said in an unpleasant tone. I was curious what exactly she doesn't like about the guy who sounds attentive. Why? I asked. As soon as she heard my question, she was like a person who had been waiting so long for the moment to open up. Let me tell you why. I don't like his dick. At the moment, I was like, what? That second you just told me you have no interest in him at all, but why you guys? But how do you know? My journalist soul was then triggered, which gave me a desire to figure things out. What do you mean, how do I know? I saw it. Argentine girl said with a no big deal attitude. You saw it? He purposely showed you or... Wait, what do you think I'm talking about? I said his teeth. As soon as I heard the word, I burst into laughter. Argentine girl was just calmly continuing to eat her burger, which made me laugh even more. After she finished lunch, we then went to the hotel to get her passport. But something unfortunate happened. The receptionist told her because she wasn't staying in the hotel, so they asked the deliverer to send it back. At the moment, I was like, what? That's a big deal because she was gonna leave for Argentina tomorrow. If she couldn't get the passport today, she would risk missing the flight. While I was anxious inside for her, she, on the contrary, looked easy and seemed to plan to hang around as scheduled. Aren't you worried? You look like there's nothing to worry about. If I were you, I would be so anxious and probably don't want to do any other things until it is within control, I said. I know my passport must be somewhere in Madrid. It won't disappear. I was panicking inside, but I know I need to be positive. Right, stay positive. I was impressed by her attitude. Or to be more precise, I feel like I'm always impressed by that kind of calmness because that's a thing I'm working on. I should learn from her, I thought. We then hung around as scheduled. Some hours later, she got the news that her passport was sent back to a logistics center in Madrid, which is at a 30-minute ride distance, and she got an acquaintance to drive her there. We then went together. However, things were not going smoothly. When we arrived, her passport wasn't there. It was past 5, which meant the situation was kind of tough. Argentine girl became worried, which I could tell from her face. Fortunately, before 6, the delivery was back. She finally got her passport. At night, she suggested we have Chinese food for dinner and have a drink thereafter. And we also had ice cream as my wish on the way. While we were hanging around the streets looking for a nice bar, suddenly a guy approached, asking if we were looking for somewhere to drink. Actually, he wasn't the only one who was trying to approach. I noticed there were quite a few people doing the same thing like him on the streets. It seems to be a business. They are not necessarily hired by the bar, but are willing to bring guests there because of commission. This is quite interesting for me because there's no such business in Taiwan. Well, if there's any similar, I'd say it's about sex trade, which isn't exactly the same thing, obviously. Anyway, the persistent guy, yeah, I said persistent because he followed us for more than 5 minutes, which magically I didn't feel that annoyed, first took us to a disco. You can take a look first. If you guys don't like it, then we go to another one. I was looking at the disco from outside, seeing the red, green, blue light radiated from the pendant lamps just made me feel overwhelmed. Because after a day's running around, I felt like I didn't have the energy to handle the environment. Loud music hit as soon as I stepped inside. "What do you think?" Argentine girl asked. "How about going somewhere quieter?" I feel like I just wanted to chill out at a normal bar. The guy then recommended another one, which was indeed quiet. But that's too quiet. There was only one table of guests. Oh gosh, this kind of quiet just made me feel bored. Is there any place whose vibe is in the middle of the two? If not, I'd rather be overwhelmed than be bored, I thought. How about going to the first one?" I said. "Are you sure? Because I don't want to go to the place that you don't like." No, it's fine, let's go." We then walked back, which took only 1 minute. On the way, thinking of turning on my social mode just made me feel tired. When we arrived at the door, I took a deep breath, thinking, "Alright, my mind is prepared, let's see if my body is able to catch up." Though my mood was still pretty low. However, it turned out I have an incredible adaptation skill, which even surprised me, because right after ordering a drink, I was suddenly like, "Alright, let's dance," and energy was soon pumped into my body. And I guess I danced not bad because I got someone's compliment. Well, of course, I got lessons from dancing queens just yesterday. While we were there, we bumped into some students from the United States. Somehow I felt like they are quite easy to recognize, probably because of their clothing style, which gives a casual and confident handsomeness, if that's what they intend to show. And a cap seems to be a necessity. I especially confirmed that because I did a scout while visiting LA. However, there was a guy who didn't dress like that but still caught some eyes. Probably because he was the only one who had an Asian appearance there. Oh, right, except me. Music was on, dance was non-stop. Argentine girl was enjoying her dance while talking to me from time to time. And there's a word from her which, well, surprised me again. But this time, I heard clearly. I do respect her courage in terms of the topic she mentioned, because that's a thing I'm still working on. But I guess I've made a huge step recently. At 5 o'clock, we went back to the hostel. Even though it was late and I was tired, I still took a shower before lying on my bed. Yep, that's one of my principles, which shows an inflexible side of me and is what I thought about myself in the past. During my working period, I was told by my colleague I have to be more flexible. Well, now I know the inflexible me will appear when things go beyond my principles of how, especially when working. I'm not saying I resist any change. I know I have some unnecessary insistence that should be thrown away, but sometimes there are some values we need to really think about, right? As to the flexible side of me, well, you've already seen earlier. It is reflected in those social occasions. Written by Jessie Chan. Thanks for your reading.